Hey, my listeners and saints. Today we're going to be talking about the Golden State Killer, Joseph James Bianco. Now, there's so much to unpack in this case, and we're going to go look at some pictures first, and then we'll kind of go from there. sorry it was so long, but a majority of those are cases that I've already covered. I think that I've seen 3 that I've not covered yet. Um, and then I still have more to add into it, but I mean, it was already 5 friggin' minutes. So, exploring the dark side, crime and horror. Golden State Killer. His case file, which we're going to look at the long version here in a little bit. 13 murders, 50 rapes, 200 yep, that word. Location, California. The dates of his crimes is 1973 to 1986. And of course, he was found guilty, 12 life sentences. This was a composite drawing of him, which looks pretty close. You notice this nice little shirt here he has on? It's because he was a police officer. This is him more recent. That he's like old and decrepit now, older and decrepiter now. These are his crimes where they were committed. This was some of the newspaper clippings. This was his house where they arrested him at. This was some of the crime scenes. If you notice right here, he would go in and while he was raping the woman, he would put the man face down on the floor and put dishes on him. That way he could hear him move if he tried to get up. There's it. Let's go somewhere else. Okay, here is the whole case file. The overview is the Golden State Killer was a prolific serial killer in the United States who terrorized the state of California. Sorry, California, not really interested. For 12 years, from 1974 to 1986, he's also known as the original Night Stalker. We're going to dabble into that for a second. The Diamond Knot Killer, the East Area Rapist, and the Vizela Ransacker. That's multiple names that he was called. Again, I don't know why they give them these names. I would call him Limp Dick. I would call him Bent Carrot. I mean, come on, give them something they hate. He committed at least 13 murders and over 50 rapes and 200 burglaries. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that word, but maybe one day on my deathbed I'll say it right. After more than 40 years since he started his reign of terror, the Golden State Killer was found by using a GED match, a genealogical site with the DNA database. They went in, the genealogy things where they go in and check out everything. Well, they had to narrow it down from a large amount of people in his family. Joseph James Diango Jr. was arrested. I didn't know he was a junior. Was arrested and charged with 13 counts of murder in 2018. In August 2020, he was sentenced to a maximum penalty permitted with 12 life imprisonments without parole. And it's California, so I know why he didn't get the death penalty. But here in Idaho, you kill somebody, we're going to kill you back. His background is he was born in 1945. D'Angelo was the eldest of 4 children. He joined the U.S. Navy in 1964. And now he also served in the Vietnam War. I was going to say something I always said. Once discharged, he went to college and graduated with an associate's degree in police science. A year after a broken off engagement due to his abusiveness, he obtained a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. From 1973 to 1976, he worked in the burglary unit of Esther Police Department. I want to say Dexter there. Okay, the Visalia ransacker, probably saying that one wrong too. I know, I know. The first reported crime linked to the Visalia ransacker was on March 19th, 1974, and he was suspected. Might have been the beginning of committing crimes, even though he probably had committed more. You can see ransacked. He ransacked the house. Dun, dun, dun. This is when they called him the rapist. He was raped in 1976, 1979. You can see he's escalating his crimes. The original Night Stalker. D'Angelo admitted that from 1979, you notice how he is escalating these, and it actually ends like 1979. Then he starts something different, 1977. Like he had a plan to do, like, okay, for 10 years, I'm going to break into people's houses. Okay, right after that, I'm going to start, raping people. After that, I'm going to start killing people. This seems odd ish. D'Angelo admitted that 1979 to 1981, he killed 9 people, 4 couples, 1 single woman. D'Angelo would break into the home, and tie up the couple on the 1st of October, 1979. Then he fled the scene once the police were called by the neighbors. In December 1979, he shot Dr. Robert Offerman, age 44, and Deborah Manning, age 35, to death. These 2 cases were linked through shoe marks and ligatures. In March 1980, Lyman, age 43, and Charlene Smith, age 33, were found dead in their home, bound with a cord tied in a diamond knot. I was wondering about that, him being in the Navy, giving the rise to the name the Diamond Knot Killer. Charlene had been raped before her and Lyman were then bludgeoned to death with a log. Kenneth Keith and Patrice Harrington were murdered in August of the same year. Again, the female was raped and the couple were bludgeoned to death. In 1981, of February, D'Angelo raped and killed a lone victim, Manuela Whitholm, in her home. In July of the same year, D'Angelo took the lives of his 10th and 11th victim. Sherry Domingo, 35, Gregory Sanchez, 27, were murdered. Sanchez had been shot and bludgeoned with a garden tool, and Domingo was raped and also bludgeoned. He also received the moniker the Night Stalker, but after serial killer Richard Ramirez was given the same moniker, D'Angelo was then referred to as the original Night Stalker. From 1981 to 1986, the crimes came to a halt, referred to as the cooling period by the FBI. During this time, D'Angelo had 3 daughters and had found work as a diesel mechanic. In July of 1986, he committed his final murder by taking the life of 18-year-old Janelle Cruz. Cruz was tied up, sexually assaulted, then bludgeoned to death, supposedly with a pipe wrench. After this, the killer disappeared. And he disappeared, I think, for 40 years. That was the house where they arrested him at. Okay, let's go to another one. Because they're talking about all this certain amount, that's the case file and all. But I found this. And I'm wondering if this is just ones he's suspected of, or if this is, what's going on. Let's try to figure it out. The charge date, crime, victims. You can see it started in 75, around the same time period. And a lot of them is Jane Doe, John Doe, but they're all California. Every single one of them is California, which I mean, you know, that don't mean anything. But we got rape, breaking and entering, attempted rape, kidnapping. That's a little off, but still, murders, and it goes down to 73 and 74. With 13 confirmed murders, 50 rape victims. That's where it comes in. Never mind. Over 200 burglaries and countless years terrorizing the state of California. The Visalia ransacker, Golden State Killer, was one of the most prolific serial offenders in history. Despite all those crimes, he left narrowly a clue as his identity. The case went unsolved for decades, denying the families that he had victimized as much needed sense of justice and closure. On April 24, 2018, the mask was finally lifted from the offender with the arrest of Joseph James DeAngelo. Okay, just so you know, I record these at like 3, 4 in the morning, so I'm tired, so no snappy comments. Even though the trial process was coming to a close, the world was only beginning to understand the depths of the pain and suffering that this individual caused. It's our hope that this website, helped bring some sort of closure or something. I hate when people say, "Oh, I hope it brought closure." There's no closure. When a human life is gone, there is no closure. Shut up and try to go home. Okay, this is going over the same stuff. I didn't realize that. Oh yeah, he would call them. The ones that survived, the attacks by the Golden State Killer were often preceded by hang up phone calls. He would surveil the houses, usually single story houses, because he didn't want to have to go upstairs and have a big area to maintain. And he would call them and like threaten them again, and you know all this stuff, and just crazy. He was a crazy man. Meow, meow, meow. That's a picture of him. He looks confused. Where's my door here? 74-year-old was described by former co-workers as regular Joe despite his serious demeanor and non-existent smile. I can believe it. What the hell is this? A band-aid? Let's beat his ass. He was born in Bath, New York. And then we went over November 8th, 1945. So that he's a Scorpio. Okay, he was a cop. Let's see what else we got here. I wanted to play you this because this is what he would do. Suburbs. Stocks, sometimes days, weeks, months in advance. Careful the physical. What have I done wrong? What have I missed? Is this America's most dangerous serial killer? That's this was his sentence.
Good morning, Your Honor. Member Sheila just returned Sacramento County.
Good morning, Your Honor. Greg Todd, District Attorney of Ventura County. Good morning, Your Honor. Todd Spitzer, Orange County District Attorney.
They found him guilty, so I thought that was just like the reading of the guilty thing. I know this was short and sweet. I'm thinking about doing a couple at a time. That way, it's a little bit longer on some of them. A few more things I want to add to this. It's again, he rarely went into two-story houses. Um, he would call up the victims and taunt them. Again, evaded capture for over 40 years. He went across 15 jurisdictions, with the all the rapes and everything. So there's your jurisdictions that he crossed. He was a white male. This is the description that anybody that survived give: 6 feet tall, 185. Um, his dad beat him. He was the oldest of 4 kids. I always like to see the kind of life that they had, because there's usually some kind of honestly explanation of how they got to the point that they got to. I am going to upload something kind of special. It's going to be on my short, so go check it out. But my daughter moved out. She had moved in for a little while, and I'm turning that room into an office, and I'm going to post a video of before and after, and y'all give me your feedback on it. Thank you again for joining me, and maybe one day I will get these to where they're actually entertaining. Thank y'all. I will talk to you later. Bye.